Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Grid, and in this video I wanted to talk about actually the 3 favorite Fanatec wheels I have, and kind of narrowed it down. I've simplified over the years, I guess you'd say. I've had many different wheels for the years that I've been buying Fanatec, and I've kind of finally gotten to a point where I said I'm just going to simplify and keep 3 wheels that I really find have a nice balance between all the different categories or all different sims that I play. So I've narrowed it down to basically the CSL McLaren, the Formula V2, and the Podium Porsche wheel, which I think is a really nice balance to have one from each series, because if you look at what the Formula V2 is compared to the CSL, compared to the Podium, they're very, very different wheels in the end. So I just did want to talk about quickly what I like about each of these wheels and why I've chosen to stick with these 3. I've kind of eliminated the other ones that I've had over the years, kind of given them away or sold them, whatever it may be, but I've kind of settled for these, and so that's why I want to talk about today. All right, so the first wheel I want to talk about is the CSL McLaren GT3 wheel, a very popular wheel that has made its way back out on the market. It was, absent for a while. I guess they were kind of retweaking and modifying some of the things on it. But you can see this has the honeycomb analog switches, so it's a little bit more solid. They have less flex to them. And, this wheel is popular as it was. There was just a few things under the hood I guess they had to optimize or fix. But this has the quick release on it, but it does come with the simplified quick release. I just prefer to have the quick release on it. I really like this one. It gives a bit more weight to it as well. When you look at the layout of it, I think, everything is really accessible to where your hands are when you're racing. So especially these 2 buttons, these have a very solid click to them, and these are kind of protected buttons. So if you're mapping, for example, pit limiter, the pause button or view button or whatever it may be, and you don't want to hit those by mistake, you can map those there. So I have my pit limiter mapped to this one. I have my other, whether it be DRS or push to pass, mapped to these 2 buttons. And you can kind of map it any way you want, but as pretty much standard on all the Fanatec wheels, you have your funky switch down here. You have your analog mappable switch here, so you can switch between 4 different modes for the analog paddles. What I do like though is this shifter has a nice click to the shifter. But if you're, for example, you're racing and you're you want to hit something on your button box or your keyboard, you can shift up and down with one hand on this, and I really think that's a cool little feature to have on this wheel. So if you're racing and you're turning a corner and you want to hit your view button or something you want to change, or a rear view, you can just quickly shift up and down with one button on that. What I really like also as well is that it has this really nice carbon fiber look to it. Obviously it's not carbon fiber because it would increase the price dramatically, but to have just a carbon fiber feel to it, but it does have a nice texture to it. And if I get it in the right light, you might see there's little markings on this to show you where you can put your stickers if you want to place them. It's kind of small detail, but I really think that's cool just to add that. So it gives you a bit of guidance on how to map it out so it looks nice and clean. Overall, a really nice wheel, quite light. There is a slight rattle to the buttons, and it's not something where it annoys me if I'm driving. It's just if you have a lot of force feedback, you'll hear it rattle a bit. If you do hear some really excessive rattle though, there is a little switch, a little compartment that comes here hooked into this that has an Allen wrench into it. So just pull that. I just took it off and leave it off, so it doesn't have any rattle. But yeah, all in all, a really good wheel. I love this one because it's quite solid as far as for the price point, the features that you have in it as well, the OLED screen. So all around a really good wheel, and the size is nice as well. So anytime I want to, run a car that has a McLaren wheel and I want it to match as much as possible, I'll just pop this one on and we'll, have a good time with it. All right, so that's my McLaren GT3 wheel. Next, we have my Formula V2 wheel. This is the Clubsport wheel series. So this is one level up from the CSL. And I mean, what can I say? This wheel is solid. I mean, it has every button that you can imagine that you would need for, you know, you have your thumb encoders, you have your multifunctional switches, you have your mappable analog paddles or switches, your switch for your paddles, you know, you have your rocker switches, everything in here. And you have a nice, I think it's like 5mm thick carbon fiber faceplate. So, I mean, it's really, really solid. I mean, it's a great, great wheel to have for Formula. It's weighted. I mean, it's got a nice weight to it. It does have the quick release as well. And if you notice, I did put the advanced paddle module on here. I do have it on the Podium Porsche wheel as well, which I think is just a no-brainer when you're running a wheel like this. Not only does it give you a bit more weight to it and give you a bit more of that solid feel when you're switching because they're magnetic. So it's got really nice click, and those are really solid pieces of carbon fiber in there with your analog switch. I think I just love this wheel so much. I've run it for a long time. I mean, before I had any of these other two wheels, I did have the GTU Universal Hub Xbox Hub wheel with the that set, and I had the Formula V2. So those are kind of the two that I ran for pretty much everything. But a really, really great wheel. Had it for a while, but it never gets old. You know, you have your analog switch here, you have your funky switch, you know, really everything you need. Quick tip: if you do hear some creaking or cracking in your wheel, and you're kind of trying to figure where in the heck is this coming from, I found that if I just loosen these two screws here a slight amount, that one there and that one there, if you just loosen those a slight amount, like just not even a turn, just like a small little nudge to the left, and you'll find it'll eliminate the cracking. So, I mean, it took care of it for me. It was driving me crazy for the longest time. I was like, I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I thought it was, you know, these handles. I thought it might be something like that, but it was actually those two screws were just a bit too tight. And the other thing that I've noticed with this wheel that I really do like is, and you don't notice it until you don't have it, it's the vibration motors that are in these handles. So when you're running a Podium wheel or the CSL McLaren wheel or any of the other wheels that don't have vibration motors, that little, I would say, I don't want to say little, but that small little addition to it makes a huge difference. It gives you a bit more tactile feel of what's actually going on. I mean, I would love to see it somehow integrated into all the wheels. It could, you know, if you could put it in an Xbox controller, I'm sure there's a way you can find, you know, to put it in all the wheels just to have that little extra feedback that's going on. But love the fact that these have these rev LEDs. I mean, nothing really bad to say about this wheel. It's just perfect, and I love it. So that was my Formula V2 wheel. All right, so where are we? And for my final wheel, this is my gem. I absolutely love this wheel. Been a huge fan of this wheel for the longest time, but I don't think anything will replace this wheel. When I have friends that come over, the coolest thing is just to actually take this off my rig and I give it to them and I say, here, check this wheel out. And just to watch the expressions on their face is really funny. But, you know, it's a really great wheel to have the combination of the Podium hub, the button module endurance, this nice, beautiful suede replica wheel, Porsche. It doesn't even feel like a replica wheel, honestly. You know, you have all this, these buttons, plastic covers can come off as well, much like all the other wheels. You can, if you want to get the button and sticker pack from Fanatec, or if you want to pop on different buttons, or you just want to have it natural. Like I run these all pretty much natural. And so these can come off. I've left them on. But you have, you know, your rocker switches, you have your multifunctional switch here, and I absolutely love these dials. You know, these are really great here, but there's something about these when you're driving and when the lights are down. I tend to drive with, you know, a little bit darker in the room when I'm driving. So when you're driving at night and you can't see what you're looking at, it's easy to kind of put your hands down and flick the switch without even kind of looking. So sometimes I have to find myself looking for the switch. So that's one cool thing about this. I absolutely love the 2.7-inch OLED screen. I mean, you can't not love that. Just giving you that much more information in front of you. I mean, if you have a DD base and this, it's a great combination to have, you know, maybe legacy mode, or maybe one screen running on the base and then another screen running here. And of course the LEDs. I mean, these LEDs are very, very bright. I'll show you that in a bit. But you can see how I have them mapped out. I have my stickers on there. I made my own stickers as well with a label maker. But you do get stickers with it. And again, how can you not love the advanced paddle module? I mean, look at that. It just makes everything look so good. And running the quick release again on this. So the only thing though you might find is that there's a little bit of flex here in the top part of this longer paddle shift. But I find myself, I don't think it bothers me at all, because when I'm driving, my hands are here and I'm always shifting down here, I'm never shifting up higher. Like here, I don't hold my hands that high, so never really worry about it snapping or kind of, you know, that it'll break. But it is an all-around solid wheel. Absolutely love this thing. And if you have any kind of Alcantara, like the Formula V2 wheel or any other wheels that are Alcantara or suede, all you have to do really is just give that a nice wipe with a microfiber cloth. It's kind of basically like brushing it, right? So you're brushing it just to bring the hairs back in the right direction. So I do have a video that I show how to keep these, how to maintain the Alcantara or the suede. If you want to check it out, it's called Keep It Clean. But really the only thing you do anytime you're driving, just to give that a wipe in a couple of different directions like that, just to bring the hairs back out. And the other thing is, I would highly suggest when you're running these wheels is to wear gloves. With the CSL, you don't need to worry about it because these are rubber, but when you're running suede or Alcantara, I would just highly suggest you run these wearing gloves. So, all right, that's my third wheel and final wheel. So when we look at this, you know, the Porsche wheel is really my closest that I have to a GT style wheel or GT3 style wheel. I mean, obviously, I would love to see a true GT wheel come out. Who knows? Maybe we'll get that one day. Of course, I'm looking forward to that BMW wheel that's supposed to be coming out hopefully this year. And this McLaren wheel is a really nice balance between the two, because you can see as far as size is concerned, you know, this is a much more compact, true Formula style wheel. And then you have your closest to a GT wheel in the CSL, but I really would love to see a Podium Series GT wheel. But I think it's just a really nice balance between these three to have them. And one thing I would highly suggest is to really, you know, use Fanalab. Fanalab is really great to bring out all the extra features. You can, you know, customize how these LEDs light up on all these, except for the OLED. The only thing you can customize this is what's seen on the display, whether it's your speed, your gear, your sectors, or whatever it may be. But on the Formula V2 and the Podium series, you know, with the button module endurance, you can really customize how those look. And I mean, I've had this wheel, when did it come out? 2 years ago, I guess. So I've had this wheel for 2 years and it still looks really great. I mean, I take care of it, I maintain it. And I think that's really the important thing to make sure you're doing. So let's take a quick look at what these look like on my rig. So I'll be putting it on my DD wheel. I do have a CSL and a CSW, but I'll run it on the DD wheel just so you can get an idea what these look like. And we'll pop over there now. This is the McLaren. It's much lighter and will run in low torque mode on the DD wheel by default. You do have the OLED screen, and if you're using Fanalab, you can control what you see on the display, which is really handy. This is a really good all-around wheel that works nicely from a CSL all the way up to a Podium wheelbase. It's a really popular wheel, which I think is due to a balance in price, product, and performance. Here's a look at the Formula V2 with the Rev LEDs lit up. Again, use Fanalab to really get the most out of this and the other wheels. One thing I do appreciate when going from the McLaren or the Porsche wheel is the vibration motors. They do make a difference, and I really notice it when I don't have it. The Formula V2 wheel is a definite home run for me when it comes to features and feel. It is overall a solid wheel. And finally, the Porsche. Let's light up those LEDs. And they are bright. But you have to absolutely love this 2.7-inch OLED screen. I mean, running the ITM along with Fanalab and this wheel shines. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than this is the most immersive wheel I've had. From the button module endurance to the hub to the displays, the LEDs and the buttons. It's amazing replica wheel, which doesn't feel like a replica wheel at all. So that was a quick look at my 3 favorite wheels to date, I would say, because there's always wheels coming out and I'm always get that bug to buy another one. But these are the 3 favorites that I have in the Fanatec line. So a CSL series, a CSW series, and a Podium series wheel. Who knows what's going to be next? But for now, these 3 definitely fill all the needs that I have, and I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, if you're in the market for a wheel and you're hesitating, not sure which one you want to get, please feel free to ask any questions you have. I'll be happy to answer them. Just pop them down in the comments below. And once again, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I really do appreciate that, and we'll catch you guys again very soon. Until next time, take care.